Hi there, in this video I'm going to walk you through setting up the UE4OSC plugin by MonsieurGustav, as he's known on the forums. It's a brilliant plugin that allows you to send and receive open sound control messages in and out of the engine. Now, open sound control, as you may or may not know, is sort of a successor to MIDI. It says open sound control, but I use it for tons of other stuff. You can send all sorts of strings, variables in and out of the system. It's very quick and works with a lot of cool control surfaces and things like that. And you can also make MIDI work with it, although I don't do that. I've heard it's quite a straightforward process. So because there's often confusion when it comes to plugins, you often see posts, saying, "Oh, what do I do here? It's the module's not built," and all this kind of business. I thought I'd just show you how to install the plugin, compile the plugin from scratch. So the start of this video at least might be handy for anyone who wants to compile any sort of plugins like Rama's Victory plugin or the Bluey plugin, which are two that I use. It's just handy to know, if you've never done it before, just how easy it is to do this. So straight away, first you'll need to make sure you've downloaded Visual Studio 2015 from Microsoft, which is free. When you install it, make sure that you go to custom installation and make sure that C++ is selected. You'll need Unreal Engine, and I'm going to do this in 4.11 just because it's about to come out any day now, and I believe MonsieurGustav has just got it running on that, so it'd be good to see. And you'll also need, which you can find on the OSC for UE4 page, the link to GitHub, where you can download the zip. So I'm getting the master one, which is 4.11 compatible. A quick download there, so that's there ready for me when I need it. That's the zip file. And what I'm going to use to test it is this app, which you can get on. I've used it on my iPhone and on an iPad, but I think it works on Android as well. It's a really brilliant control surface where you can literally drag and drop all these buttons and dials and sliders into place, and it will generate the OSC messages for you when you interact. So you can grab any of these things, dial it, slide it, click it, and it's a back and forth thing. You can send data back, updating the labels on all these messages and stuff. It's a really excellent bit of software, really customizable. I use it for absolutely tons of stuff in my development work. So first, what we want to do is create a project. So I'm going to launch 4.11, and what we're going to do, and I think a lot of people get really nervous about this, is make a C++ project. But it's really easy. You don't need to know any actual C++ to do this. So I'm just going to make a C++ basic code project. No starter content. I don't need any more junk on my drive, and I'll call this OSC tutorial. There we go, create project. As you can see, I haven't done any C++ type stuff at all here. I've just literally chosen a C++ project instead of Blueprint. You can, if you've already got a Blueprint project, you can go into the editor and add a class. Oh, this looks like it's worked. And you can add a C++ class, and then that will change it into a C++ project. So as you can see, without doing anything, we've got our editor has fired up with our OSC tutorial project, and that is built, and you can just use it the same way as you do a Blueprint project. Nothing to be worried about there. So what we're going to do is just close that down. Visual Studio has opened itself, so I'm just going to close that for now and just press yes to save this solution. Now we can go to our OSC. There it is. So right click on there, show in folder. This is our project we've just made, and from this, the zip file from the GitHub with the plugin in, I can go into the zip, find this. This is the folder we need, but first, so in our actual project, we make a new folder called plugins. Into that folder, we'll drag just the OSC folder. That's that done, and then back here again, we can right click on our project file and press generate Visual Studio files, and that will just refresh the project, refresh the solution. So for now, if we double click on this, Visual Studio will load, and don't be daunted by any of this stuff. It all looks complex and there's not even any code on the screen. You don't need to do any C++ at all for this. Just for your information, on the right here, what we can see is the engine. That's the entire source code for the engine, which you can edit and recompile if you like. Don't worry about that. And in games, we've got our game, which is its own build, and inside there we can see the plugins folder and the OSC folder and all the source code that MonsieurGustav has put together for us to make the OSC work. So now all we need to do is right click on OSC tutorial here and press build, and then Visual Studio will whir into life, rebuilding our game, including the new plugin that we've just attached. And while that's going, I can show you that in this plugins folder you can literally put anything. You can put in there, you can put Rama's one, which I use, the Victory plugin. I use Bluey, which is like a web browser based plugin, which is really good for doing certain stuff. You just drag them in there, and as long as they're up to date and they are current for your version of Unreal that you're using, they should just build once you've refreshed a project. So that says succeeded. It's come up with a few bits and pieces there. It's succeeded, that's fine. So we can close Visual Studio, we don't need that anymore, and run our project either by double clicking there, or we can, as usual, run it from here. And when that runs, we should see that the plugin has been compiled and is running. So if we go to plugins here, down at the bottom there we've got OSC. That plugin is working, and basically that's your sort of starting block for getting all this thing going. What we can do very quickly is make a quick blueprint to use OSC. So I'm going to right click, press new blueprint class. I can just type OSC receiver actor, press select. I'm just going to call this OSC BP, and in there we can add a component which is the OSC receiver. So that is just an object that we can grab in a blueprint in order to make it do things. So event graph. So now I'm obviously into the part of the tutorial where we actually see how the OSC controller works. So there's two parts to the OSC. There's the receiver bit and the sender bit, and you've got to be a little bit careful about the sender, in my experience, that you don't try to send data out to an unspecified address or a random blank address, because that can hang the system. It's just probably one of those bugs that needs to be sorted out in the future. So what we're going to do is set up a bound event here. So we can drag our OSC receiver onto the screen here, and we can press, I think it's bind, yep, bind event to on OSC received. There we go, and we'll just do that from begin play. So when you run your project, this is the first thing that's going to happen in this blueprint. So, and we need to actually make an event. So off this little thing here is our delegate. We can make our delegate. So we drag off here and type in add custom event. So when we do that, we call this OSC RX. So what we've done here is we've made a custom event that will fire every time the OSC receiver receives something. And what we get here is, well, the first thing we can do actually is just make a sort of debug version, and for a lot of you it will get to this point and you'll say that's all I need to know. So what we can do is drag off here and say print string, and literally we'll just drag the address in, and then basically anything that comes in, In fact, let's make it a bit more complicated by that, by using a format. So format text. This is something I quite like using. So we can say OSC RX from, and we'll put IP in curly brackets there, and we'll put address. And this is something that OSC uses. It has addresses, so you can specify the target for each, slider or button. And then I'll just put ADD, so I can drag in the sender IP into there, and this thing into there. It's interesting. And then just plug that into the print string. So then when anything comes in from anywhere, it will basically just print a few details about it. So other thing we need to do is on our OS receiver, I think it's in project settings, OSC. Let's make our port 8060. That's what I use for everything. So this is the receive port, which is handy. Send targets. I'm not going to worry about that. I'm going to define my own send target. So that's that. So obviously we need to just drag our blueprint onto the game. Hit save all for good measure. I'll just call this test map. What I'll do is BP started. So this will just print this when the blueprint is started. It actually won't give us any details about if this has been successful, so it's not really a great bit of debug. But if we run it, it says BP started there in the corner. It is effectively listening. So let's close this. I've got my OSC Touch OSC editor here. So this is like I say, this is a brilliant thing. It's set up for my iPhone. You can literally, there's loads of things here, like a rotary encoder. You can have push buttons like this. Say how many rows and columns you want, and each one will generate its own data when you press it, which is brilliant. So what I've got here is on this thing is I've got a slider, and the address for that is 1 and fader 1. So that's kind of page 1. This is the page, and then the fader. That's the fader. I've also got an XY controller, so you can just drag this around, and a label there as well, which doesn't do anything, but I can actually change what that label says. And then I've just made this thing here. So what I can do for me is just, if I just change this to my slider, and call this my label, and then I'll call this one my XY controller, then it automatically updates the fader address. So I'm just going to synchronize this with my phone, which you can't specifically see right now. And then when I run the app, I can press some buttons, which are not the buttons I just showed you, unfortunately, and I can see that I've got a button there being pressed. I've got some multi-toggle buttons. I've got some sliders, which you don't actually see the data for right now, but you can see that I'm sliding up and down. More buttons. So that's basically, I can see that I'm getting commands into the system, which is great. What I need to do is, in the blueprint, is I need to pop those commands off. So I know that a slider will produce a float value. So off the data, I can drag this and just type float and pop float, which is stack terminology for removing something from the stack. So there could be tons of commands at any one time. We're just going to pull off the one on the bottom of the stack or the top of the stack. I can't remember how it goes. So pop float will remove us a float, and this is the float value that's going to come off. So I'm going to just add another one to this value val, and output that value into there. And then when I run my sliders, you should be able to see the value. There you go. It's a value between 0 and 100 on my slider, and you can see that going up and down as I'm doing it. It's very fast. That's another one. Sometimes if it's a button, it's 1 and 0. So I hold that. When I press it down, it goes to 1. When I let go, it changes to 0. What else have I got here? That's just basically that's all it is really. And what you can do as well, I don't know the best way to do it, I don't know how you do it, but if you see the address starts with /1/perk multi /1, I can do a switch on string for that. So this is going to isolate that particular slider. So I can do a switch on string, and what I need to add there is, if I remember rightly, let's run it again and check. It's /1/perk multi /1. So /1/multi /1. So I'm going to feed my address into there, and I'm going to make another one for the second slider, which is called 2. So then I'll just say print slider 1 and print slider 2, and then as a default, basically if it's not that or that, it will go into what we've already set up, the debug one. And it's quite handy to leave that connected actually in your thing. Then you can see if you've got any funny values coming in. If I play it now, yeah, you can see that I'm triggering slider 1. You can actually see it running there, which is quite nifty. So I can see I'm running slider 1, I'm running slider 2, and if I run a different slider, it goes down to the default one because I haven't got that in my switch on string. So that is your receive pipeline. So now, what if I want to send stuff back? Now there's quite a few ways of doing this. I made a timer based one, so I'm going to make a little custom event here called start OSC timer, and I'm going to say set timer by event, and I'm just going to make it so it's every, pretty quick, 0.05, so that's firing quite often per second, and our event will be custom event OSC ticker, and we'll make it so it loops, obviously. So this is an event that's gonna, every so often, every 0.05 of a second, is going to send data out of the system if there is data to send. But what we need to do is add an you basically need to find out where it's, where to send the data back to. OSC add send OSC target. So that's the command. And what we want to do is I want to set that up so when we first press a button on the iPad, it will grab that IP address and use it as its kind of return address. So I'm going to make a ball here, saying OSC is ticking, which it won't be to start with. So make sure that's off. And what we'll do is, straight off the blocks, we'll put an if in here, and we'll say if OSC is ticking, then it's fine. We'll just do what we've always been doing. If it's not ticking yet, then the first thing we'll do is add a send OSC target, and that target will be the first address that comes through. Now let me just check to see if we're getting a full IP there. Yeah, what we need to do is we need to add the port to that. So it's 192.168.0.4, but we need to add the port as well. And the port I'm using on my controller is 8080. So I can use format text again, which I use for quite a bit. Format text, and that'll just be IP and then a colon and 8080. So this just adds the colon 8080 to the end of the incoming incoming IP address, which is that one. Plug that into there, and what we'll do is we've got our IP address now, so we're going to set the OSC timer going. So I can press start OSC timer, and also we'll set this ball to true. Oops, that's a bit weird. Set to true. We're ticking now, that's fine. So then any subsequent commands that come in will know OSC is ticking, and we can continue on this path. So what I'm going to do here is make an array of commands that we can send. So the part of the OSC data we send has an address and a message attached to it. So let's just OSC send OSC bundle. So what we can do is make a new array. Let's see, messages, and that should just come up as one. Yeah, OSC message struct, and it's an array. So what it is let's get that, and we'll say that if the length of messages is greater than 0, then we'll get we'll get item 0. No, we don't get item 0. We just send the whole lot. So if the length of OSC messages is greater than 0, then we basically send those messages. And what we put in here is -1, which means we send it to all of our targets. So that basically this timer will just keep running that query. Is there anything in the messages? Yes, there is. Send them all. So we're going to have another custom event here saying add message. So add message, and this wants to contain, for example, two of these will have the target address, which is a string, and we'll have the data, which is, let's just call it a float for now, but it becomes a string, so we will make it a string. There we go. So what we need to do is get our message array, we need to add to it, and we can just break this. So that's our address, and push string. There's a better way of doing this, but this is just an example for us. Is that what we want to do? We don't want to do that. This wants to be a data element struct, so we'll change that to OSC data element struct. Array. So basically we call this let's just change that to, let's call it, no, add. We call this whenever we want to sort of send data out of the system, and it will add it to this list, and then every 0.05 of a second the ticker will send the data out. So I'm going to just make a command here called for P, and it will be add OSC message, and what it's going to be is, if you look back at this thing, the OSC thing, I've got this label here, and the address of it is /1/mylabel, so that's our target. So /1/label, and our data will be, we can do push string, and we can just say hello or whatever, hello or whatnot, and that's all we need to do. That will push a string to that address, and then on my iPad screen it should change that when I press P, as long as I do the old irritating that. Okay, what I'll do, this will let me know, so I can say added, bit of debug stuff here, added data, and then here I can string sent. I'll save. Right now if I run it, what I want to do actually is just say received input OSC ticker started, just so we know that this time is running. Yeah, there we go. I've spelled received wrong. So now we know that now we know the time is running. If I press P, so it's sending a string repeatedly. That's because we're not clearing the stack, but the string has been sent to my iPad, and it all looks good. So what we need to do there is just, once it's sent, we need to clear that. So once it's sent, then the message bundle is cleared. So it only sends it once. So there we go, received input, and I press P, the data is added and the string is sent out. So just to sort of chop this quite roughly into the video here. Here is my Touch OSC app running. I've got this really basic thing that we just made running there. Slider doesn't actually do anything on its own. There's an XY controller. In the app I can choose, this is a bit fiddly and I only worked out the best way to do it recently, is in the connections, in in the connections, I type in the name of my PC's host name there, which is Win10box, add a little dot local to the end. That makes it work, makes it so it finds it on the internet, on your LAN. And just your ports there, mine are set to this 8060 and 8080, which matches the settings in the engine. And so that's ready to go. Just to run this again, if I hit play, BP started. I'm going to just slide this up and down, and I get the data from that. I can slide this around. I get that's just the X value. You have to pop the Y value from it as well if you need that. And then there's the label, which is label. Now if I press P, it will send that to the iPad. There you go. It sent hello to the iPad. And basically that's it. But you can do a ton of stuff with this app. I've got some really complicated control systems. This is the one I was using before, which has got, lots of sliders, data that I can add, buttons that you can press, all sorts of bits and pieces there. You can have several pages on the same app, so here's another page. So this is, I can control RGB values of things and scale text, RGB, emissive. This is all stuff that I can use to control the engine. It's a brilliant interface. What's this one? Oh, this is just like a camera controller, X, Y, and elevation. Give it a look. It's a brilliant way to control Unreal. And basically that's all you need to do for both ins and outs of OSC for UE. Just to recap then, we've got our blueprint, which is obviously dragged into the scene, so it actually functions. Start event begin play. We bind our receive device, a receive event. So when anything is received, this is triggered, and then it's going to sit there listening for input. And then the first command that comes in, we grab the IP address of the iPad. And say, right, that's what we're going to send back to. Send our target, start the timer, and then this whole bit here is the bit that repeatedly fires the OSC sender, and if there's anything in our message list, it gets sent every 0.05 seconds. This is the bit that adds those messages, so we can call that anywhere in our blueprint, and it will summon it. And that's just my little bit of debug code. So that is OSC coming in and out. Hopefully that's quite straightforward. Thanks for watching, and good luck with it.